Okay, well, hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining again. I have here with me Toluca Rivers, and Toluca has her own company called Markers and Minions, and also her own series on YouTube and Facebook, where she has built up a business on designing these just really neat tools for educators with the mission of really helping teachers' lives to be easier and if you just look at Markers and Minions, you see the beautiful work that she's been able to do, not only in her products, but her website. I loved all the colors, by the way, Toluca. That just felt so
Thank you.
calming and soothing, and the pastels are just so nice.
Thank you.
Um, and by the way, Toluca has an amazingly organized, which I'm jealous of, amazingly organized desktop background, which you'll have to talk us through. And by the way, you can also find in her design series. So, so Toluca, again, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really, really excited to have you here. And we used to be neighbors, which is so neat too. So Toluca, I would love to know a little bit more about you and Markers and Minions, starting with what made you choose the name Markers and Minions first off? And if you could jump into a little bit more about the inspiration behind it.
Sure. So back in 2013 is when I started my branding and my storefront and all that on Teachers Pay Teachers. And I was coming up with the name and I was trying to figure out what embodied my teaching that year. And I thought of markers because I had all the colorful, fruity, smelly markers. I loved creating anchor charts with my students. And then Minions, because that year the kids were obsessed with all those Minion movies. And
Oh,
it was like on their backpacks and on their pencils and all that. And so I would jokingly and lovingly refer to them as my minions. And so I just thought, oh, markers and minions. That's kind of cute. Double M. So yeah,
that's adorable. I love it.
thank
I
you.
love the Minions too, by the way. So within this brand that you've created, I know you started with the digital products, but it seems to have really turned into this big community for you
Yeah.
online. Did you envision having this community become so big when you started?
No, no way. So I first started on Teachers Pay Teachers, just kind of uploading what I was creating for my own students, and it wasn't really a business at all to me. I came up with a cute name, and I think I wrote a couple blog posts, but it really started when I changed districts and I started working for a different district, and I wanted to fully immerse myself in the school district and the culture. And so I started joining all the committees and becoming really involved with everybody. And then I started realizing like I love the community aspect of education and when teachers collaborate, what we can come up with. So I made this online Facebook group thinking that I was ready to expand into the online space and meet and collaborate with the other teachers that I didn't know in person. And overnight, I remember there were like hundreds of
Oh
requests to,
my gosh.
oh, this is weird, but I really started something. And it was really neat. For a while, it was small enough to where I could do weekly live videos. So I would log on every Sunday. It was super, just relaxed like this. And I would have my husband take our baby out and go grocery shopping or whatever for an hour. And I would just plan with teachers. We would get together every Sunday night and plan for the week. Um, and then yeah, it grew. It's huge now. It's like I have 8 Facebook groups, a page,
Wow.
an Instagram, an email list, a Pinterest,
Oh
everything.
my gosh.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How did that first few hundred find you?
Mm,
Was it just organic
I
or
think,
no?
yeah. So someone found me organically, and then she shared it on her district Facebook page. And so it was hundreds of teachers from a specific district that all joined
Mm.
right away. And then it was just word of mouth.
That's incredible. That's just so great.
Thank you.
And how do you mentioned that you have the 8 groups, you have the lives. Can you talk about how you cultivate that sense of community within the groups that you've established?
Sure. So in the beginning, it was a lot easier. I was in the classroom and I was just sharing personal experiences all the time. Like, hey, check out what we're doing. This worked really well. This didn't work really well. What do you guys think about this kind of thing? And like I said, it was really, there was a personal connection because I was always on live videos and getting to know teachers that way. And so it was a lot easier back then. It's harder now that the group is so big and I have people on all of these different platforms. But at this point, to cultivate it, I still do my lives occasionally. I'm there in the comments, I'm asking questions. I'm still making it a point to connect with teachers, even though my daily role looks a lot different now that I'm out of the classroom.
And you said you've been out of the classroom for 3 years?
Almost. My
Yeah.
daughter was almost 3. Yeah. So when I had my second daughter, I decided to stay home.
Is that what helped to propel your own business a bit more too, just shifting your focus to building your brand?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really
I was
great.
home with her for the first year. I didn't put her in daycare or anything. And our little apartments where we live, where we were neighbors. We just hung out at home all day, and I was thinking like, this is a really good opportunity for me to focus on creating. And so in the last 3 years, I think I doubled the amount of resources that I've created. I have like over 500 resources now.
Wow. I
Addicted.
know I wanted to go through, I was thinking, okay, maybe I can go through all of them before meeting. And I tried, but I got through some of the design series and I thought, wow, this is just so much. And then I got really sucked in.
Really?
Yeah. I
I
thought I knew, I thought I knew PowerPoint and Dex, but I watched your series and I thought, no, I don't. She knows. Like,
Yeah, and it's really funny because when I talk to designers and I tell them, like, for example, the first year I wanted to get my planner printed, my teacher planner, I designed all of this in PowerPoint.
yeah.
When I sent the PowerPoint file to be printed, they were like, "What are you doing? I can't print from this. Where's your like InDesign file?" I was like, "I don't use InDesign. I just do it all with PowerPoint." So it's not the typical use. We're not building like presentations or things.
Yeah. And I just thought that was so cool because when I even had seen that you really just use PowerPoint. And when I started to dig more into your brand, I thought, okay, she's going to have something here about Photoshop or using InDesign or just being, or I thought maybe I thought there'd be a lot of that, but you really just honed in on all the powers of PowerPoint.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? How did you just,
I started YouTubing back in, yeah, like 2013. I remember the first YouTube video I watched was how to create a shape on PowerPoint. And like it was a teacher showing, I think, how to make a binder cover or something. And she used a shape, a rectangle, to cut her 8.5 by 11 page. So like the bottom was a different color and the top was a different color. And I was like, wait a minute, I can make pages and like fun things to print out. It doesn't have to be a presentation. And yeah, I just watched YouTube videos and it was pretty easy for me, honestly. I love graphic design, if you can call it graphic design.
no, it is. It is. You're just using a different tool. And you have these really neat interactive presentations. Also, I love that you have those drag and drops for the words, for example.
Mhm.
Has this new era of having to use Zoom and online learning really shifted to you having to build some of those tools like that for online learning, or would you say that the need for that kind of already existed?
It already existed. From day one, I've always had teachers asking me to create digital versions because a lot of schools were already one-to-one before all of this started or trying to incorporate more technology. So I definitely already had several product lines that were digital compatible. And but definitely a year ago when we shut down, it was like a mad race to get everything digitized because it was really important to me that when we shut down on, Thursday or Friday, that the kids would be able to continue using what they were already using on Monday morning virtually. I thought that that would be the best for the kids. I thought that would be the easiest for the teachers. So actually, here's where the community comes in. I put a post on Facebook. I went live and I said, hey, you've all been part of this community for years, and many of you use these resources with your students. Who wants to come together and help me digitize all of this so it's ready by Monday? And I had so many teachers step up and just volunteer, and we got it all done. So we converted, excuse me, like hundreds of resources to be ready to use by Monday.
Oh my
And then,
gosh. And they're not
yeah,
even doing it for money or anything. It's something
no,
they're just
amazing.
doing together.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible. And
And it was really easy. Once it was done, we just uploaded the digital version to the existing product. So teachers just had to re-download it, for the free update, and then it was ready to go. They just had to assign it. It was great.
wow,
hmm
that's so cool. And do you see the students that interact with these resources, were they doing it mostly on computer, or were they also actually using things like an iPad or things to drive,
Mostly,
drag and drop?
mostly Chromebooks.
Chromebooks. Oh, got it.
Yeah, mostly. Since school shut down, a lot of children got access to tablet devices, but still Chromebooks are, I think, the dominant device, most popular device.
Very cool.
hmm
And how would you say you've mentioned so many different aspects of your brand. How do you keep track of, how do you prioritize and just take care of all these different things? Because I have to say, even myself thinking about, okay, you have your digital products here, you have your community here, you have your videos here. What is your kind of method to prioritize the different aspects of it?
I have systems down. I first of all, I treat this as a full-time job now. So I sit down every day for hours at this desk, and it's my job. So I come up with systems to make things more organized for me. For example, in the first week of the month, I'm batching content related to email, actually the first and second week of the month. What am I going to be emailing about, talking to my email community about? Third week of the month is like planning for social media, because as much as I hate being on my phone all day, that's where my community is. So I have to be posting and commenting and interacting and learning about my teachers. So for that third week of the month, I'm really planning how to be present on social media. And then the fourth week of the month is kind of like team management. So I do have a team. The last 2 years, I've been bringing teachers on to help me. And we have a platform called Monday.com that I'm obsessed with. I think everyone should use it. And it's how we communicate, it's how we get projects done. And I have a team to help me with all aspects, from creating products to answering emails, like the whole customer service side of it that has just popped up as a result over the years. Yeah, so I have a lot of help
That's really great. And did you hire them through your community too, or was it a separate job posting?
through my community. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it.
Except for the person who helps me with social media. I went through, what did I use, like Indeed.com, because I was like, I need someone to help. I need someone that knows all of these platforms.
Uh-huh.
I can teach her what it's like to be a teacher and about all the content, but I need someone that understands like how to interpret social media and navigate it. So she's the only person that's not within my original community.
Got it. And so is she the one responsible for a lot of your posts on Instagram and images, or how does that work?
I have a lot of images that just exist from my classroom, and when I design a new resource, I take pictures of it, or I'll take screenshots of it, and then she'll help me like overlay things so that it looks pretty
Got it.
every once in a while. And then we use actually a Google Sheet. So we have the date, and then we have the Facebook caption and the Instagram caption, and then the image. So she'll go in and kind of plan out like, here's what I'm thinking you should be posting about based on, what unit the teachers are on, what they're learning in math right now, etc., what the school climate is, and then I'll go in and write captions all at once. It's really efficient.
Nice. So you strategize all of your social content together and then
Yes.
kind of plan out when it's delivered,
Yes.
which is great.
Yeah, it is. Before, I was just posting on the fly every day. I had to dedicate time to like come up with a graphic and think about what to chat about, and then follow up in comments and things. So that was taking a lot of my time. So this is actually more of a recent thing where I have help with someone just to help me see the big picture, So then I can get in and respond to comments and not be drained.
Yeah. And then you can focus focus more on the core of your business and not lose touch with it.
Yes. Yeah, and really the core is the community, being able to learn about teachers and chat with them, and because I'm not in the classroom anymore either, so that is helpful to me too, to hear about experiences, different experiences.
So is that how you really keep in touch then with what they need and where you should focus your next products on? Basically what they tell you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I basically say, like, I'm here, I'm home with my girls, I've got the time, this is what I do, what do you need? How can I help you? So
Got it.
follow
Do you
their lead.
think, could you see yourself after this is all over and we're finally all able to be more in an in-person environment, could you see yourself going to the classrooms and not as a teacher, but maybe as observer or as a consultant type of thing? Do you see something like that open for you? Or do you think you would really just stay more on the virtual side?
Well, and I actually have been, up until schools shut down, I was doing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going into districts and schools and leading small professional development sessions. And I would
Right.
actually do an in person workshop several times a year where I would rent out a ballroom in a hotel. And then teachers from all over could come, and we'd just spend the whole day planning. And just, it was a workshop. We'd plan everything, we'd make our anchor charts, we'd come up with our projects, and it was so fun. So I'm excited to get back to that someday.
That sounds really fun.
Hmm.
What and how did you start that? So was it that you started your brand and then you use that to leverage the contacts maybe you already had in the districts? Or was it kind of in tandem? You had your brand building and then maybe already some contacts in the districts to do some of that consulting and presentation.
It was never my plan to do consulting or professional development. Just teachers started approaching me saying, "Hey, do you do this? Can I talk to my district about having you out?" Sure, why not? I'm going to talk about the same things I talk about on Facebook, because I'm just a teacher. So anyway, that's how that came about. And the planning workshops, the ones that I was hosting, that came about because every Sunday night I would do my live planning videos. And so I thought it would be fun to meet everybody in person. So instead of just through a screen. And yeah, that's how that happened. And I ended up doing maybe like 6 or 7 of them in
Very cool.
different parts of the state and West Coast.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where do you see your business and teaching resources moving towards based on this experience you've built?
Well, as I mentioned before, I have over 500 products at this point, or teaching resources, and a lot of those are part of giant year-long resource lines that span across grade levels. So I feel like I've created more than enough to support teachers. I'll always create because I always get that inspiration. I'll sit down for like 8 hours and just make something. But at this point, it's more about like, how can I get what I've already made out into the hands of others? So it's really just focusing on, how am I going to connect with my email list? How am I going to engage with the people that follow me on Instagram and on Facebook and all these different platforms? And how do I basically get the word out? And I mentioned earlier, before we started recording, that I'm experimenting with the online course world.
I was just about to ask about that too.
And that, um, I have a lot of teacher friends, teacher author friends on the other side of this who have TPT stores, and they've all ventured into creating online courses. And I've been putting that off for years. I'm like, I don't do that. I just do what I do. I don't know how to create an online course. What would I even talk about? But then looking at everything that I've built, it's like a spider web. I have all my YouTube videos, and I have like hundreds of hours of YouTube content, and all my blog posts, and all of my just personal experience that I talk about all the time. And I thought I could make this more succinct and put this into an online course. And so that's my next move, is getting that developed and available in the next couple months.
Very cool. And are you able to tell us what platform you're using?
I'll be using Kajabi. So it's an online course platform where you actually get your own login credentials, and it's a really nice interface where you can see all of your modules, it's called, laid out for you. And you click on the module and you'll see all of your lessons. So each module will have, like, I don't know, around 5 lessons. And when you click on the lesson, it shows the video, any sort of attachments that you're providing, and any sort of text. It's really straightforward and clean and easy to navigate.
Very cool. I love your story because it just seems like everything just came to you. You know, you said something right now, that resonated with me. I don't develop online courses. I don't do that. But, you know, you didn't start off being a YouTuber or being a consultant or being a speaker, you know, and it all just came, it seems, because you identified something that was a need and you really liked working in it.
Mhm. Yeah, I have gained so many skills. I can't tell you how many times I've told my husband, like, I don't want to know web design or want to know YouTube. Like, I don't want to know these skills all the time, but I'm just kind of thrown into it, and I just learn it. So I've learned so much in the last 3 years that's not related to teaching, but more related to, I don't know, business and marketing, things that I didn't go to school for. And as much as I complain about it, it is fun. I like learning.
That's so great and innovative, you know. Um, and your website, did you build your website yourself or did you have someone do
First, I had someone do that because I didn't know how to build a website.
that?
And then after a couple of years of tinkering with it on the back end, I thought I can figure this out. So I purchased my own theme, they call it, and then I started developing the back end of it more. And then transitioning from selling digital content to physical content was such a challenge on my website. I had to figure out sales tax in every single zip code in every single state,
Oh my gosh.
shipping costs, all these things I don't want to know. So I had to learn how to configure that automatically on the website. And so now I can do it by myself. But I am actually having someone come in next month who's really good at web design, and she's going to give it like a facelift. So I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, it looks so pretty right now too. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
But that must have been stressful. Just I can envision that. You know, you're making your own website, you tinkered around already. I'm sure the e-commerce part for the digital aspect is um a little bit jarring because you're you're using this platform, you're taking people's money and then they get this digital part or not, it's the receiver for you for your money. And
Mhm.
so I always just think, how does this work? If it breaks, is it going to ruin something for someone else? And then when you add that physical aspect of it with the
Mhm.
sales tax, I can only imagine how stressful that was for you.
Yeah. It's technology. It's all I still get emails where teachers are like, "Can you turn on link sharing? It's having me request access, and I bought this." Like, "Oh, sorry." You turn on the link sharing so you can make your copy. So
That's funny.
never ends.
Is that why you have your kind of the customer service and now
Yes.
dealing
Yeah.
with those questions?
Things like that don't need me per se. Like, she'll go in. It's the same person that helped me with planning my social media, so she helps me with that.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anything else that you want to talk through? I know I feel like I talked to the design series in your Facebook group. I mean, what is maybe the most special part of the brand that you developed that you would want to talk perhaps a little bit more about?
I guess what I'm really excited about now is, like I said, going into the course creation side of it and just teaching teachers in a more organized way, not in such like a casual, let's just hop on a Facebook Live kind of way. And what I've been doing is every month I'm forcing myself to develop an email series of like bite-sized professional development. So over the last 3 months, I've created three. The first one is like a series of 5 emails, all related to helping teachers with Benchmark Advance, which is a ELA program.
Mhm.
And then I've got another email series of 5, coaching teachers through virtual math instruction. And then the next one, the one I just finished recently, is 3 days of how to develop foundational reading skills with students that align to the current practices and findings within the science of reading community. So that's what I'm really excited about, is being able to sit down with a focus and think about how I would break up this content in a way that flows and makes sense and is going to help a teacher learn something new by the end of it. So that's kind of, and it's also my way of shifting from creating all the time to just talking about what I've created and why I've created it and why it makes sense, and how it can help. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about right now.
That's great. And is this a resource, if you don't mind me asking, is it a resource that teachers can have their districts pay for, or do you think most of them will kind of go through it individually?
The email series that
Oh,
I'm
sorry. I'm going back to the course part of it.
Yeah, so teachers can buy it individually or their districts can as well. It's basically a digital version of my full day workshop that I used to do in the hotels. So I've taken all of that and I'm creating that into, the online course. And I'm also adding just a bunch of stuff that I've been teaching about over the years. So it's now 6 modules. When I used to do this in person, I used to have a lot of districts reach out and send, 20 of their teachers. But then I'd also have just like the teacher from Wyoming who wanted to fly in for the weekend. So it's open to anybody.
Kind of just what happens.
Hmm.
That's nice. That's great.
Thank you.
Um, well, thank you so much, Toluca. I really have enjoyed learning so much more about your story, and I'm also really excited for you. It sounds like you have built this really interesting career kind of based on just everything that you really ended up loving doing. And I think that's just so terrific and an inspiration, I think, also to other educators that maybe also have some talents and skills that they can give to the world.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. That's all what I love doing. I love my job now.
And that's great. I think that's the inspiration we need in the world, is you have to love your job.
Indeed.